Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. Benjamin. Chapter 10. I've heard of the angelic movement. Yes, I agree that the world situation is dire. Yes, I believe drastic action is required. But the day I ally myself with those who use God as a cover for genocide is the day you'll see me dead. America, come deal with the monsters you've made. Head Speaker Ngozi Adamu, 2038 International Climate Conference. I have no idea what's going on when I walk into the media room for my first watch meeting. The media room is crammed with mismatched seats, board games, and a cracked flat-screen TV. One wall is stenciled with a vapid inspirational quote from the before times that just feels hollow now, like a smile drawn on a dead body. The watch itself is sprawled in a haphazard pile across torn couches and ripped seats. There are 2 empty spots. One has to be Trevor's. I try to picture him in the room with us, but his face is a void and bones stick out of his chest. I'm saved from the thought by Aisha raising her voice to cut off Cormac's sentence, which I tuned out as soon as I opened the door. It was capitalism, she says, pointing hard at the ground. Salvador props their chin on their hand, watching lazily. Nick isn't here. It's always capitalism and colonialism. What? No, don't look at me like that, Cormac. Rich bastards need to hush, Faith interjects when Cormac tries to retort. Normal people are talking. We weren't rich, Cormac snaps. I ease the door shut behind me. We were comfortable. Your parents owned the Akersfield Country Club, Salvador groans. Shut the fuck up. Hey, Ben. Everyone turns. Cormac glares. Benji, actually, is the only thing I can think of to say. What's going on? Nothing, Faith says. Come on, sit. I'll take the spot next to Salvador because it's as far away from Cormac as I can get. I can't handle him right now. I barely slept last night, even after Nick and I got back from the rescue mission. I kept having to go out back to throw up, and I saw the grace every time I closed my eyes. And the prayer for the dead always came back, sacrilege poised on my lips. Oh, Lord. I'm getting sicker. Are we just waiting on Nick? I ask. Salvador blows out a breath. Yep, some shit went down this morning, so we're not pressed. He'll get here when he gets here. I frown. Some shit? Yeah, Aisha mutters. Some shit. Faith skims a hand down her arm the way you'd comfort a little sister. Cormac kicks his feet up on the table and keeps staring at me. I'm sorry I wasn't there at breakfast, Faith whispers to Aisha. Aisha ducks her eyes. It's fine. It looks like everyone has let the funeral incident go. Erin made it clear Alex and I had both lost someone and weren't doing our best. But Cormac. With Seraph getting into my head, making everything burn, it might be best if I just stay away. Even though it'd be really satisfying to punch Cormac in the face. Did his parents actually own a country club? Figures. Doesn't come to that. Nick walks into the room like he crawled out of bed. His hair is falling out of its pins and his knuckles are white around the bead lizard. This is the Nick I saw lowering his head to the vanguard, whispering, okay, okay, the one pinned under the grace. Not the Nick that slammed me into the bodega shelves and knocked me to the floor. We don't say anything. We just look at him. He stops in front of us, and in a second he's back. Too quiet in here, he says, rolling beads between his fingers. What's wrong? Cormac points to me. I told you, I'm not working with him. My face burns, blood rushing to the surface. A seraph burn. It's glorious, getting angry so quickly. Maybe the flood has given me something in return for my body. The anger I never let myself have as a little girl. The rage I swallowed down every day of my life. Feels like it's slotting into place where it was meant to be all along. Under my mask, I bite down hard on my cheek. Nick blinks slowly at Cormac, unimpressed. Yes, I heard you the first time. Then what the fuck? As Cormac talks, I suck on my teeth, fingers digging into the armrest. You saw what he did to Alex. Salvador hums. I think you're just jealous they're paying more attention to him than you. Oh my god, their boyfriend just died, Aisha says. Leave them out of it. Guys, Faith cuts in. Come on. I can't help myself. I'm right here, asshole. Cormac gets up from his chair, vibrating with anger. You tried to kill them. They tried to crack my head open. Nick hooks his foot under the edge of the coffee table and hoists it up. It flips with a terrible crash, sending books, papers, and pens scattering across the floor. A yelp. Faith swears, cords of muscle standing out on her neck. That's enough, Nick snarls. My skin prickles with excitement. The noise, the shouting. I could get used to this. I could leave the old Benji behind, the one who cowered behind Mum's robes and fell to my knees on the bridge. All of you. Cormac sinks back into the chair. Aisha looks away. I take a long, deep breath, expanding my chest until my lungs ache and then letting it out slowly through my nose. The heat settles into a comfortable place in my chest, right below my ribs, under the sternum. Among flesh, bone, and organs, where everything should be. Thank you, Nick says. He primly readjusts the nose of his mask. I wish I could read underneath it, see what's going on there, figure out what he's hiding from us. We have something important to talk about. We nod, suddenly one group again, pulled together for what we're here to do. Nick has that effect on us. I allow myself to admit that it is beautiful, the same way he is, even if I still want to dig my nail into my ring finger. Nick leans against an overstuffed armchair, lording over us. In 4 days, he says, a pilgrimage of angels will be headed to Reformation Faith Evangelical Church for an initiation ceremony. Wait, he's not actually considering... After intercepting papers concerning the details last week and considering the trouble we've had with the Vanguard, it's in our best interest to intervene. If anyone has any objections, speak now. I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. It's decided, Nick says. In less than a week, we are going to Reformation, where the death squad was taking me, the heart of the angelic movement in Acheson, and one of the worst places I have ever been, to kill as many angels as we can. The next 4 days slog by, but pass far too quickly. I wake up every day sluggish and crash every night exhausted. I imagine this is what Theo felt as a new death squad soldier, reeling from a taste of the flood and desperately trying to keep up. Cormac avoids me, but I still hear him bragging about his rich parents, as if that matters anymore. I ask Aisha about her doomsday prepper family, and she talks about underground bunkers in West Virginia until she gets distracted by Sadaf. I learn Faith used to be in the Coast Guard when she goes on a soft-spoken but firm tirade about the inherent cruelty of the armed forces and what a mistake it was to join. We quiz each other on maps of Acheson to make sure we can get back to the ALC if we're separated. Nick teaches me how to load and unjam a pistol, and I pretend I'm not staring at him more than I'm looking at the gun. Nobody noticed I'm only taking half my allotted water rations and barely any food. The pantry empties quickly. Even when a boy named Micah butchers rabbits and squirrels in the courtyard, it barely makes a dent in how much food we go through a day. Taking even a granola bar makes me feel guilty. First respite I get is lunch with Salvador on the second day. We got a back table in the kitchen, and I'm picking at half a can of tuna. The two of us are supposed to be studying Reformation's floor plans. Aisha found a copy of the blueprints in City Hall months ago, and they're currently laid out on the table. But I already know the layout, and Salvador insists on a meal break. I don't know much about Salvador, and he seems quite fine with that. My one question about those scars is met with a wink and, care to tell me why you were kidnapped by angels? I glare. Exactly. He leans back in the flimsy plastic chair, gesturing at me with their fork. But I'm curious to humour me. What convinced you to join? Because the watch ain't fun. I'm sure it'd be easier to scrub the floors than let us do the hard shit. There's not much to say. Nick recommended it. That can't be all. When I frown, Z can actually see it, since eating is one of the few times we take down our masks. I tried waiting around for Nick to eat, but he always takes his food upstairs. Salvador taps at the scar on their lip, which has bent their mouth into something uneven. I say, if I tell you the reason why I'm here, will you tell me about Nick? That's not fair. Nobody knows jack fuck about him. There goes that. I drag my fork through the remains of my tuna. I don't even like fish, but I haven't eaten all day, and hunger is starting to make me sluggish. I'm sure there's some Bible quote that's woven itself into my skin about sacrifice, or maybe something from High Reverend Father Ian Clevenger's rambling manifesto, but all I remember is the feeling. Another mouth, more food. I'm sick and shouldn't bother. Really? I manage. I shouldn't even be asking about Nick. He's my commander and nothing else. That sucks. Well, Erin knows everything about him, but good luck getting her to talk. She's a steel trap. Salvador looks over at Aisha, who is sitting on the other side of the room with a book, Faith beside her. He'd have an easier time getting Aisha to date a white girl. Aisha pipes up. Piss off! Faith snorts into a cup of water. I tuck my head in closer. Wait, she and Faith aren't... Nope. Besides, Faith is aromantic and Aisha wants to ask out Sadaf. I can hear you, Aisha protests. So what? Salvador calls back. We're not talking shit. I say, so you know everybody's business? I do my best. Tommy used half of our supply of antibiotics last month, when they got a UTI banging loose, which, ew, why would you? Cormac is a bottom. Erin actually used to have a crush on Nick before she found out he's gay, and I'm surprised I even got that out of her. Look, give me something, I'll give you something. How's that sound? Nick is gay? I ring in my expression before Z notices. I mean, I'd figured he was something if he was here, but it doesn't matter. I'm betrothed. I'm an angel. I am Seraph. I am the avatar of the flood. Crushes are a waste of time when I'm just weeks away from being God's wrath incarnate. Besides, cis gays are the worst. I've only been part of the ALC for a few days, and I'm already picking up on strange divides in the queer community. I can almost hear one of the other trans guys mocking cis gays to his friends, wrinkling his nose and whining, "Ew, pussy, I could never." Like they think not having a dick makes us lower tier men, like there's something wrong with us. It's just that I don't get along with the other trans guys here. One turned up his nose at me, and I've been too awkward to approach the others. All right, I say. I'll give you something, but you have to answer my next question the best you can. Salvador perks up, eyes flashing. Go for it. I said I'm in just because Nick thought I should be, but there are so many things I could say. I could make myself seem selfless, taking on the hardest jobs just because I feel like I should. Or I could hint that someone who forgives me for being Seraph deserves every ounce of myself I can give them. So I say it all as simply as possible. They took my dad. I want to make them regret it. Salvador says, so you're in it for revenge? Yes. Maybe. Distilled down to its most basic parts, yes, but the word feels too heavy. Revenge has lost its weight. Everyone wants someone to suffer for something. Yeah, kind of. So much anger packed into such a little body. Salvador laughs. How very trans boy of you. All right, intriguing, I like it. What do you want to know? There's this one guy, I say. Also trans, a little taller than me. Shitty sick and poke tattoos. Oh, what's his name? Carl? Clay? You know him, right? With a bad haircut? That's Calvin. Z eyes me. Please tell me you don't have a crush on him. God, no. He'll barely give me the time of day. What's his problem? If he's just not talking to you, you're getting off easy. Z watches the door as if Calvin could walk in any second, which he technically could. He nearly beat the shit out of Aisha earlier, calling her a liar and a bunch of other nasty stuff. He's the worst. Like being a dick will make up for his lack of one. I barely suppress a laugh. Let me guess what he was throwing a fit about. You're white, so... Oh, was it because you don't bind? It's not obvious I don't. I don't like I have much to work with, but once you know what to look for, it's impossible not to see it. I cross my arms over my chest anyway. That must be all the answer Salvador needs. Look, he's awful. He bought into a bunch of gatekeeping rhetoric before that day, and all he does is lick boots. Said I was making a mockery of the trans movement for using fake pronouns, and I nearly strangled him. Pinkwash colonialism and all that. A long, angry breath. Feel free to deck him if you want. I'm sure Aisha would appreciate it. I don't need any ideas. The night before we head to Reformation, Micah catches a deer. It's small and withered, tongue hanging out of its mouth. He says we're lucky it's small. We're running low on sugar and salt for curing, so we'll have to eat as much as we can tonight to keep it from going to waste. When the sun goes down, we light a fire in the courtyard with plywood pulled off windows across the street. The deer is laid out on a tarp, and pieces are put over the flames, sizzling and spitting. The sniper guard breathes in the smell of cooking meat and turns back to the streets, just in case the smoke attracts attention. Someone runs up the stairs to give them the first pieces. There is not enough room for everyone to gather in the courtyard with the fire and Trevor's fresh grave, so most people stay in the ALC lobby. But Calvin is by the radio, getting too close to it for Alex's liking and causing a snarling match. So I wander out to the yard and sit by the fence. It's a quiet night. The heat of day still lingers, cut by the breeze. Flames crackle, and the sharp tang of smoke tastes warm on my tongue, even through the mask. The firelight itself bathes faces in shades of gold, lighting up eyes that shine with laughter they keep choked up so they aren't heard. People move in packs, leaning on friends, faces tucked into shoulders and against thighs. It reminds me of the movies I saw before Mum took us to New Nazareth. Groups of friends cuddling up, close enough to inhale one another's air. Aaron lingers by Micah, disgusted by the raw meat, but taking great interest in the way his hands work the knife. Sadaf wanders into the grass and Naisha follows, reaching for her arm. I stay by the fence alone. I've been pressed up against the watch all day, and I don't feel like explaining my growling stomach to anyone. And more than anything, I need some time to myself. I kick off my shoes and spread my hands in the cool grass. The fence smells of wet wood. Weeds creep up the slats and tangle in my fingers. The Milky Way shines in a silver streak above the buildings and clouds. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. No, the first heaven and the first earth were murdered. I don't notice Nick beside me until the rattle of plastic beads makes it past my thoughts. He's leaning against the fence, toy lizard in hand, staring into the fire. "You eat yet?" he says when I look up at him, even though he doesn't look at me. "I'm fine." Not what I asked. I'm not hungry. Of course, my stomach picks that moment to growl. Nick kicks away from the fence and walks into the crowd. A minute later, he returns with 2 handfuls of sizzling meat, using folded-up printer paper as plates. He tosses one down to me. "Eat." Grudgingly, I do. It's still fire hot, the same way my hands, stomach, and throat feel, and I balance it on my thighs to keep it from burning my fingers. This is more food than I've eaten at once in days, but it's so warm and smells so good I can't stop myself. It falls apart in my mouth, taste bursting across my tongue. There's so much flavor it makes my jaw ache. It's barely salted, barely seasoned because we have so little to spare, but it's the best thing I've tasted in forever. Nick says, "Are you going to be all right tomorrow?" I shrug, peeling off another piece. When I accidentally touch a part that burns, I stick my fingers into my mouth. I'll have to be. He snorts and pulls down his mask to take a bite. I stare without an ounce of shame. He has the squishy face of a teenager, like cookie dough that isn't finished baking, baby fat that puberty hasn't wiped away just yet. But there's strength to his jaw, and the hard way his lips are set. Something that says, sure, he's handsome now, but just you wait. Just wait and see what he grows into. It'll be worth it. He doesn't have stubble. For some reason, that surprises me. Maybe I'd just gotten used to it. Theo was starting to get patchy, awkward facial hair when I left, and he used to rub it on me to piss me off, leaving red burns on my neck and cheeks. I dig my nail into where my engagement ring used to be and shove more venison into my mouth. The flavors aren't as strong this time. Nick says, "All you have to do is give the signal and make sure the abominations don't kill us." I know. We've decided I'll be on lookout since it needs to be done anyway, and it's the way to hide what I can do. As far as the rest of the watch knows, my job is to find a vantage point, wait until the angels are distracted, and fire the first shot. Easy enough for the new guy, and still more than the others are willing to do. "Tell Isha for your uniform before we leave." "Yeah." We're silent for a moment together, just eating, catching juice that rolls over our chins. Someone barks with laughter and claps a hand over their mouth in apology. The food settles in my stomach and I feel warm. Not burning, but warm, like I'm somehow sitting next to the fire even though I'm all way across the courtyard. Gentle. Cozy. There's so much bustle over there and inside the ALC. So many bodies, so much silent noise. It's quiet over here. Just us, the food, the grass, and the sky. Nick says, "It's okay to be scared." I look up. "What?" "Your hair is getting in your face again." He digs out another set of bobby pins and hands them over. "Don't lose these. I don't have that many." It's okay to be scared. It hadn't hit me until now that my teeth were grinding again. Chapter 11. At the core of every believer is a warrior ready for battle. Every day you engage in spiritual warfare against evil through prayer. But the Lord tells us, warfare in our hearts is not enough. Angels Wash the Streets Red with Blood. The Truth by High Reverend Father Ian Clavenger. In a place like the ALC, after Judgment Day, it's easy to forget you're trans. Or maybe a better way to word it would be, it gets easier for me to forget the pain of being trans. Being transgender is who you are, and the pain is what the outside does to you. The pain is what happens when you and the world go for each other's throats. In the ALC, I almost forget that being trans can hurt. But in front of a full-length mirror, it's impossible to think about anything else. I never liked looking at myself, and that was before the flood started showing up in my body. Aisha doesn't see it, but I do. The way the skin on my nails is shrunken back, making them just a little too long. The dry dullness to my eyes. The fact that when I bare my teeth, while she isn't looking, my gums have pulled away, giving me a mouthful of half fangs. I settle my mask back over my nose when Aisha returns with a handful of black clothes. These should be your size, she says, pressing close to me in that cramped laundry closet. She's in a better mood today, like she's managed to pack away Trevor's death and Calvin's shit. But she's coming unraveled around the edges. There are bags under her eyes and a tremor to her hands. It's all super mask, promise. Give it a shot. I'll be right outside. I don't have physical dysphoria the way the workbooks in the ALC office describe it. Narrowing in on obvious sex characteristics, like that's all that being trans is. I don't care about my chest, and I've never once in my life wanted to have a dick. My period sucks, but it never made me feel like less of a guy. Still, as I'm taking off my shirt in front of the mirror, I have to turn away. My dysphoria comes from the way other people see me, and I can't help but look at myself from the outside. Why do my wrists have to be so small? Why does every shirt have to sit on my ass like that? Why do hips and chest and thighs have to read female? I won't have to deal with it for much longer. My skin is only a temporary thing. I wonder if I would feel the same way if I ever had the chance to start testosterone. Knowing everything about my body would change, but being unable to grasp exactly how. I've caught glimpses of the previous seraph martyrs, bodies of children shattered under the weight of the flood, but only glimpses. A twist of rotten flesh here, a fang or feather there. I shred a belt through the loops on the black jeans and zip up the hoodie to my throat. This self won't last me long. I knock on the door to tell Aisha I'm done. She comes in and rocks back on her heels to inspect me. Roll up the sleeves, she says, and I do. Try these gloves, she says, and I do. There. Combined with a mask, I must look like the people in the ALC office photographs, like I'm about to throw Molotov cocktails through Wall Street windows. She turns me around to the mirror. What do you think? She says over my shoulder. Fit all right? Not too warm? I blink at myself in surprise. I like the black bloc anarchist look. It's soothing to smother everything that could clock me as a girl under the black cloth. I'm formless, able to blend in with the rest of the watch like we're all shades of the same person. No, I say. It's good. I adjust the gloves and try pulling up the hood. Do you do this for everyone? I insist on it, she says. I need a little bit of control over something. After Aisha can't justify fussing over my outfit anymore, we go downstairs. Everybody is waiting for us, and like the white cheeks and too long teeth, that makes it real. Erin twists the ends of her hair while Salvador opens up and closes the blade of his knife over and over. Click, tch, click, tch. Nick hands a rifle to Cormac, reciting the plan as he goes. It's the closest thing I've heard to a prayer in days. Beside them, Faith checks her own gun, movements fluid and perfect the way the Coast Guard would have taught her. Morning, Aisha says, taking a firearm for herself. Nick nods. There are notches on the grip, etched with a knife. I don't count them. The city has been devouring angels lately. An ear every now and then isn't enough for the vanguard. Nick hands me a small pistol, still warm from his body heat. He asks quietly, Ready? It's okay to be scared, he said. Ready. Behind us, Alex stands by the radio, staring as if they might find Trevor hiding between us. When I make eye contact, they huddle deeper into their patchwork coat and avert their gaze. Only one person comes up to wish us good luck. It's Sadaf, who plants a gentle through the mask kiss on Aisha's cheek before slipping away again. Aisha puts a hand where her lips had been, the cracks in her expression etching deeper. The rest of us just get curious eyes from the gym. Girls, boys, people who are both or neither, they all stare, wanting the details but knowing not to ask. I picture Cormac indulging an innocent question with a vicious smile, gory details making his victim turn green. Let's not waste the morning, Nick says. He looks better than he did yesterday, like everything has finally settled into place, like he's right where he's meant to be while swaddled in black cloth and carrying a gun. Come on. Be careful out there, Erin whispers. Please. This is happening. I'm part of the watch. After Sister Kipling took the needle out of my spine, Mum said I would be venerated as a true instrument of God's will, just as holy as the cherubim, thrones, dominions, and virtues. Dad begged me to tamp it down, to be quiet, to be better than what the angels had done to me. Theo told me my power would be as terrifying as the devil and twice as righteous. I will be good. I will make them suffer, and I will take the angels' greatest weapon and turn it against them. But I'm still terrified. It's an hour's walk to Reformation. Salvador tells us, and we'll get there before noon. The heat of the February sun clings to our black clothes. Sweat beads under my arms. Roads stretch out in an endless maze of traffic. The last time I saw Reformation Faith Evangelical Church was when I walked the pilgrimage with Theo. He was so excited on the way there, transfixed on the squad escorting us through the city because his father wasn't there and that was the next best thing. On the way back, he was so sick he could hardly walk. As soon as we were back within New Nazareth walls, I brought him water as his guts revolted the way mine are now, pieces of his insides dangling from his lips. The only difference is that he got better, because he'd only taken a little bit. He'd taken one step closer to God, but only one. He was strong enough to fight off the infection, so he was strong enough to become a soldier. Proof of God's favour. Theo's future squad mates laughed when I wiped his face, asking when we planned to put a ring on it. I touched his bare shoulders, hadn't I? Kissed him, even. And the Reverend Mother's daughter, no less. What a whore. Theo should have done the right thing and proposed already before word got out and I made a disgrace of myself. A few months later, he did. Not that we had a choice. Mum caught us having sex, and it was either get engaged or be cast from the family. Mum never would have actually disowned me. She had plans for me. But she said it anyway, spitting it in between scriptures, demanding I have more respect for my body than this. What if I had gotten pregnant? Would I have the strength to drown my newborn the way I should? She dragged me out of bed by the hair, threw Theo's clothes at him, and said we had to make a choice. The choice was obvious. Theo proposed the next day. We were 15, and despite everything, he loved me. He loved me through the seraph trials, through my sobs that I was a boy, through the realization that I would become a monster and slaughter the world. I loved him through the death squads, through the carving of skin from his back, through him slamming me against the wall and squeezing my wrists so tight I thought they would break. I raise a hand to keep my hair out of my face as the wind blows, to block out the sun and its searing glare. When Nick isn't looking, I try to put in the bobby pins. They slide out and hang limply by my ear. I'm still in love, aren't I? Reformation Faith Evangelical Church is a time machine made of stone and stained glass. A towering Gothic-style monster cradled by brutalist 10-story offices and parking garages. It used to be a Presbyterian church, but the angels consumed it like they did everything else. They invited all kinds of people into their flock, teaching them the purpose of evangelicalism and tradition and the way of the angels, and then the martyr masquerading as a preacher smashed a vial of the flood on the altar and barred the doors shut. An eye for an eye, a plague for a plague. We don't get within 2 blocks until Cormac climbs the parking garage and snipes the soldiers standing at the front stairs, Faith going with him to watch his back. There's a pair, one leaning against a broken street light and the other smoking by the door. Aisha stares at the road so she doesn't have to see it. I watch them fall and wonder who they are. If I'd recognized them, if I'd lifted up their heads. Who am I kidding? Of course I would. Cormac and Faith come back through an alley. Thumbs up in reassurance. We're in the clear. As we get closer, the ground itself seems to hum, reverberating through my throat and behind my eyes. The church drips with flesh, arteries the size of arms breaking through stained glass windows, root veins spreading out between the stonework. Fingers grow from cracks in the masonry. Bodies hang from the architecture, the mark of wings painted on every door in the same shade of red as blood, like the blood on the doors of the Israelites to spare their firstborn sons. Scrawled messages cry, God loves you, God loves you, God loves you. Prepare to die, his kingdom is near. The closer we get, the clearer the hum becomes. Cries of the graces calling to heaven. The children's choir singing about washing clothes with the blood of the lamb. It's the same hum I felt when Theo cut his hand and pressed them into the flesh of the church, when he leaned down to kiss it, his blood becoming Jesus' blood, the same way as wine. It sounds like New Nazareth. It sounds like home. When I step down from the curb and into the street, I almost stop. I don't want to go any closer. This is where Brother Hutch was going to take me. This is where I watched Theo fall apart into something other than the boy I grew up with. The angels always had their claws in him, but this is where they hooked it into his insides so deep he could not pull them out with it without bleeding to death. But Nick looks back at me, and I follow like I've been doing this all my life. Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? The choir asks in a warbling, childish soprano before fading into a holy echo. We walk around to the back where a delivery entrance pushes up against a graveyard meant for the bodies of the church's elders. The door is unlocked. The watch contains the only people brave enough or stupid enough to come this close. Nick wrenches it open. We're greeted by a distant sermon, crying loud to the faithful. We have gathered here today, comes the faint voice of Reverend Brother Morrison, to celebrate the achievements of our children. It's a voice that shakes under the weight of its words. The voice of the man who promised to wed Theo and me by the river when we were ready, when God had made me perfect with the flood. Nick freezes against the door, eyes squeezed shut. My left hand shakes so badly I have to shove it into my pocket. To put the worthy through trial, to help them take their place one step closer to the Lord's side. Nick lets me through first. The room is dark and musty, piled full of boxes and discarded pews. I didn't need the map of the church we studied. I know this building. Theo and I snuck away while the presiding reverend readied himself for the ceremony, creeping through the halls to find a place all to ourselves. He stopped by a hidden staircase and kissed me, and when we got back, my braid was a mess, so everyone knew what we did. I look up to see the same tendrils on the ceiling, a fingernail digging into the beams. We all come in, and Nick closes the door tightly. The room plunges into darkness. I can do this. Brothers, take pleasure in your struggle, Reverend Brother Morrison commands. Learn to love the pain. It is a cleansing pain. It is a glorious pain. Love it the way Jesus loved the nails through his palms, the thorns upon his brow. It is not a soft love. It is not a gentle love, but it is a perfect one. Nick catches my arm, his fingers on my sleeve, enough that I feel them, but no more, and murmurs, on your signal. On my signal, I repeat, and step into the guts of the church. Your love must be strong enough for that it becomes fearsome. It is fear that brings the unfaithful to the Lord. It will be fear that saves the non-believers. It will be fear that teaches heretics the truth of our Almighty God. The back hallways are claustrophobic. Dust cakes the carpets, and cobwebs hang in the stone ribs hanging from the ceiling. A rumble shakes the walls, as those trapped here on Judgment Day groan in pain. I almost feel Theo pulling me through the corridor, smothering his laughter, glimmers of happiness shining at the corner of his eyes. The memory is beautiful and terrifying. Focus. Feel out the doors in the dark. I'm not looking for this one or the next one either. The officers are back here. One of these doors leads to the sacristy, where the priests prepare for service. The kitchen, the little rooms where Sunday school was held. None are what I need. Fear will always be what pushes sinners towards God because we are broken things that do not deserve his love. The first step to wisdom is to fear the Lord, to tremble in the face of his truth. And you, oh, you, my children, will be his terror made flesh. I find the right one. The back door to the second floor pews. There are never any people on the second floor since they are kept empty for the brothers in heaven. They receive a seat. And that is the most thought angels will ever give to the dead. I yank open the door. Sound hits like a solid wall. like the Reverend holding you underwater for your baptism until your lungs burn and your vision blurs at the edges. Baptism in drowning, baptism in blood. Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Up the stairs, slowly, quietly. I'm on the balcony. The Sanctuary of Reformation Faith Evangelical Church is the belly of the whale. Stained glass glimmers in every colour of the rainbow, muted by dust and cut through with white where pieces have broken from the pane. The rafters are ribs, each wood beam another bone reaching up toward the spine. The pews below are full of boys, pale and hunched in prayer, knives in their laps, and their allowed loved one begging God for their child's survival behind them. I duck below the waist-high wall. So much harder to breathe up here. Reverend Brother Morrison has his Bible on the altar, hands spread wide, blood smeared down his face and throat in worship. A non-believer lies at his feet, head wrenched back to reveal the festering black hole of their throat. The choir of children flocks at his sides. So little, too little, staring at him in awe. The Graces. Oh God, the Graces. One stands with their handler, their head and massive skulls lashed together with flood and sinew. Mouths open and close in a gurgling gospel. And there is the nest behind the altar. A beast made of every soul trapped here on Judgment Day, dragged into the body of this one creature. Hands reach out, torsos press against thin veils of flesh, eyes peeking between bones, lungs, and scraps of jewelry trapped on the wrists of the not quite dead. Their muscles spread in a quilt across the carpet, up the curved stone walls, under the pews and between the beams of the ceiling. Soldiers stand by the front doors, watching the boys waiting for the rite to begin. Among the boys I see Brother Abels, who had such a soft smile and volunteered to stack the chairs after Sunday school. I see Brother Davis, who cried when he scraped his knee the first day at New Nazareth. And I see Sister Davis, his mother swaying as Reverend Brother Morrison speaks, desperate to drink in his words and save her son. I know every face. If I don't know their names, I know them. I've seen them. I've broken bread with them. I know them, I know them, I know them. Theo told me the nest's flesh tasted sweet. Sweet the way vomit does for just a second after it comes up. It killed someone from his pilgrimage. Boy didn't make it a day. A soldier dragged him to the culling fields before night fell, the flood devouring him whole as his skull swelled and one of his eyes popped from its sockets, dangling by a nerve. If the watch weren't here, how many people in this pilgrimage would die? How many would survive the rite? How many would go back to families who hailed me as their savior, who put their hands on me and prayed? Stop thinking about home. This is for the watch, for the ALC, for the vanguard, the way it should be. The grace by the door whines, and the handler tugs on a bone jutting out of their jaw. I whisper, hush. They quiet, trembling, all their dozens of eyes searching for me in the darkness. The flood hisses and burns like fat falling on a fire. I whisper, I'm here. The nest quiets too. And when Reverend Brother Morrison pauses for breath, I swear I hear my own lungs echo. There is a sudden intense calm, like something terrible being held back. I'm here. It's okay. Reverend Brother Morrison says, let us pray. Every hand clasps, every eye closes, even the handler, even the soldiers. I brace my back against the railing and aim the pistol at the beautiful window above me. Blue and gold and red and green dances on white robes like sun streaming through the leaves of a forest. The flood burns. I pull the trigger. Crack! The pistol jerks back painfully in my hand. Glass shatters. I whisper and the nest shrieks. I whisper and the grace lunges forward to tear the handler's arm from its socket. The sanctuary shatters into gunshots and hellfire. And I'm not in Reformation Faith and Evangelical Church anymore. Chapter 12. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst for the fountain of the water of life freely. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone. Revelation 21:6-8. It's quiet on the culling fields. It's always quiet on the culling fields, sure, This little grove at the back of the campus where a tiny stream cuts through the woods. But this is the quiet of the dead. The kind of quiet coloured by the creaking of rope and the rush of the water and wind. All the things that aren't the quiet that make the quiet so loud it hurts. Sunlight sinks its teeth into the back of my neck. Trees rustle their dying leaves. The dry grass hisses at my presence, and the stream runs red. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. A body hangs from the sturdiest tree, a branch laden with rotten fruit. One crow watches me, and another flutters its wings as it pulls the eye dangling from an optic nerve. I'd know the body anywhere. A boy with 2 broken legs and a flood-swollen skull. And all the fowls were filled with their flesh. The death squads dragged him to the culling fields because he was a failure whose body was burned out by God's light. He couldn't survive taking upon the mantle of holy war, so the soldiers gave him mercy by putting him down. Theo stood beside me as we watched. We had to watch him die. Theo wiping the last bits of rot from his mouth, knowing that it could have been him if God's plan had fallen just a little bit to the left. I'm in New Nazareth again. No, that can't be right. This boy rotted months ago, and it's empty here. Too empty. It's not real, it can't be. I was just at Reformation. The dust is still in the back of my throat. The howls of the graces and soldiers still ring in my ears, and I swear those are dust motes swirling in the light coming through the stained glass windows, but right now, somehow I am in New Nazareth. A dead New Nazareth, where it's just me, the body, and the birds. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, holy, holy God Almighty. Something else is here too. A monster among the trees, obscured by branches and dead legs. Split wound mouth hanging open with teeth and tongue, its body wreathed in a halo of 6 broken wings. Rotting, growling, fangs, feathers, flesh. I stumble back and my feet sink into the muck. A lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God. And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. It is beautiful. It is terrifying. The wrath of God made flesh, the flood made perfect. And I stood upon the sand of sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Hide from the wrath of the Lamb. Hide from the wrath of the Lamb. Hide from the wrath of the Lamb. The 6-winged monster sees me, and it rears back with a shriek, white eyes whirling. And I fall to my hands and knees in Reformation Faith Evangelical Church. I lurch forward, heave, and tear down my mask. I gag so hard my jaw pops. A trail of black spit falls to the carpet. A crash sends dust raining down and shakes the dead lights hanging from the ceiling. What the fuck? I want to scream it, but all I can do is choke. I want to scream until my skin burns off. What the fuck just happened? Was it a vision like those ones given to John of Patmos, the prophet of Revelation, or is the virus eating holes in my brain? I can still hear the red stream, crows, the beast. I can still taste the soft, thick smell of wet leaves on my tongue. I dig my fingers into the carpet and feel old wool in the silt of the creek bed. The grace. Shit, the grace. I force myself up and find them surrounded by the bodies of angels, ramming themselves into the barred front doors. The wood buckles under their weight. They bellow, long and low and sad, and all the dead from Judgment Day scream in return, grabbing the ankle of a passing angel and dragging them shrieking into the mass of so many corpses. I can't see any of the watch. I know that's the point, but I still feel sick. I just want to know they're okay. But behind me, suddenly, somehow, a voice I thought I'd never hear again. Benji? It's small. Smaller than it has any right to be after what he did to me. It takes the wind out of my lungs. Is that you? The angel behind me is so close we could touch. He's pulling down his mask to show his face, but he doesn't need to. I'd know him anywhere. I'd know every part of him. That mess of curly blonde hair, the baby blue eyes, the stubble dotting the soft skin of his cheek. A desperate laugh bubbles up from his lips, and he falls back, mouth open and all. My heart stopped beating a few seconds ago. It hasn't started back up again. Theo says, "You cut your hair." Colossians 3:18. Wives, submit to your husbands. The last time we spoke, I thought he was going to tear out my throat. He was so rabid that white flecks speckled the corners of his lips. I don't remember all of what he said or exactly how he said it, because I couldn't hear anything but blood screaming in my ears and my prayers that he wouldn't hurt me more than he already had. That he would stop before he broke me. Lying ungrateful bitch. I told him I was afraid of Seraph, and he hurt me for it. And I'm still in love with him. I still love him. I pull the knife from my pocket and snap out the blade. It flashes in the light streaming through the stained glass windows and comes right to his throat. Theo throws up his hands. "Benji, wait!" I snarl. "You have 5 seconds. 5? His voice wavers. "Shit, 5? Okay, Deep breath. "I'm sorry." He's what? "If you're gonna hurt me," he says, "I understand. I kind of deserve it." His words catch, and his throat bobs, and he just looks so pitiful on the other end of my knife. "But I wanted to get that in first. Just so you know, I'm sorry." My knife hand trembles. He's sorry. "You kind of deserve it. Dad thought you gave me a concussion. I thought you broke my arm. I thought he was going to kill me. If not by breaking my head against the wall of my dorm, then by telling Mum what I had said. The church wouldn't have culled me, but God, what would they have done instead?" "Okay," Theo amends. Every word comes out slowly, like he's picking them carefully, like I'm a wild animal he's trying to keep from snapping. "Okay, yeah, I deserve it a lot. I shouldn't have laid a hand on you. It wasn't right. And when you left, I realized that. I was so scared, babe. I thought someone found out what you'd said. I thought you'd been taken away." He's deteriorating, picking up speed. "This is a sign, isn't it, finding you here? I've been praying for a second chance, and I have it now, so please, I'm so sorry." 5 seconds have been up for a long time. My stomach burns with Flood and Seraph, and so does my ring finger. It feels naked. The knife falls. I don't know what's going on below us, and I don't want to know. It's just noise and terror. My world has shrunk down to Theo on the ground in front of me, like it always does. I say, "What are you doing here?" "The pilgrimage was the only way to get into the city to find you," Theo says. "To find me. To find you." He moves closer, his eyes catching mine and refusing to let go. "I was wrong, and I know I don't deserve it, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for what I did. Because I love you." I love him too. God, I still do. I bare my teeth. "I'm not going back with you." "I know," Theo says. "I came here to follow you. I couldn't let the city take you alone. If it wants you, it has to take me too." The blade of the knife bites into the carpet at my side. What if I don't believe you? Because I don't. Being an angel was Theo's calling. Being a soldier was everything he'd ever wanted. His father is the general of New Nazareth, and his mother was martyred on Judgment Day. He comes from a line of missionaries and holy warriors. He wanted to be just like them, even if he choked on it, even if it killed him. When he was forced out of the death squads, it broke him. All I could do was watch as his faith got infected, and bring him food when he praying in a fever as that would sweat out the horrible mistake he'd made, wouldn't leave the damn chapel for days. What that mistake was, I never learned. Mum said it was not a wife's place to ask, and I should start practicing for that. And leaving everything to follow me into the city. You can refuse to believe me all you want, Theo says. But I'm here now, and that has to stand for something. I hate that it does. I lunge for him. He yelps and tries to scramble back, and I grab him by the front of his angel whites. His eyes widen in terror as he struggles for air. Good. Let him fight for it. Let him know what it feels like. Beneath us, the church falls to pieces. The front door shatters as the Grace rams through and stumbles into the sunlight. The gunfire is so loud my ears ring. Everything hurts and I'm coming apart. I kiss him. Theo's mouth immediately opens for me. His hands find mine like he's going to drown if he doesn't hold on. It's just like it always was. He feels exactly the same, like nothing has changed at all. I pull back just enough for our lips to brush when I speak. He holds on tighter. I'm not contagious, I say. Promise. Shit, Theo whimpers. Benji. Do exactly what I say and I'll come back for you. I'm so weak for him. I love him so, so much. I have some stuff to take care of. Afterward, after I put my mask back up and everything is quiet. Downstairs reminds me of Judgment Day, or what I imagine it was like beyond the New Nazareth walls. The carpet is tacky with blood and the air tastes of death. Bodies cuddle the pews. The non-believer lying at the base of the altar stares at the ceiling, mouth open like God took out their tongue. The watch didn't kill every angel. It was impossible to block every exit without spreading ourselves too thin, leaving ourselves vulnerable. But still, there are a lot of bodies. The giant Grace, the nest of corpses, whines pathetically, a low moan that trembles the wood under my feet. Does it have to do that? Cormac says as he saws off the last strip of skin holding an ear to an angel's skull. Blood streaks up his wrists. Christ! I whisper, quietly enough that nobody else can hear, that it's okay, that they don't have to worry. Some of the mouths settle, but others continue to call mournfully, and there's not much I can do about that. Cormac grumbles and keeps moving. Nick counts the dead. Aisha runs outside to throw up. Salvador sits in a pew, knees tucked up to her chest. Faith stands near the back wall with her hands clasped in front of her mouth. And I'm on the shallow stairs leading up to the altar, by the non-believer's bare feet, between little snakes of meat trailing down to touch the pews and Reverend Brother Morrison's body. I stare at the balcony, trying to keep my heart from tearing out of my ribs. He left New Nazareth for me. He still loves me. Fuck, Salvador says. There are 2 children among the dead. One barely looks old enough to be without his parents, the other just about to age out of the choir. Cormac takes their ease too. I don't want to look at them, but I do, trying to place them, to put names to the bodies I know. Eventually I stop seeing faces and start seeing a jumble of eyes, mouths, and nose that my brain won't let me put together into a person. Small mercies. Silently I pray for the dead. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it means anything, but it stops the sick feeling in my chest, so it must count for something. Nick sits beside me on the steps. His right index finger and thumb tap together over and over and over, a heartbeat in anxious double time. His left hand offers the pistol. My face burns. Between the vision and Theo, I hadn't noticed I'd lost it. Found this under the balcony, Nick says. No accusation of callousness, just a simple statement of fact. Sorry, I say. I must have dropped it. It won't happen again. I don't take the pistol. He doesn't move it away. I say, I don't want it. All right. He puts it in his jacket. How many angels? 14. 14. Double what we took to the Vanguard. There's no way they can screw us out of supplies this time. We gather ourselves the best we can. I shake Salvador out of their silence while Nick coaxes Faith out of her catatonic state. We try to bring Aisha inside so we can talk about getting back to the ALC, but she bursts into tears as soon as she turns to face the pews. So we meet in the churchyard instead. The mass of not quite dead cry as we leave, and I whisper over my shoulder I'll be back. I promised Theo I would. Halfway to the ALC, Aisha staggers. They were kids, she whimpers. They were kids. Doesn't matter if they were kids, Cormac snaps, and Aisha punches him in the stomach. Nobody helps when he folds and throws up on the sidewalk. Chapter 13. Stand on any roof, wall, or hill tonight and watch the world slow down. Watch it empty. Watch it return to the paradise our Lord intended. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Isn't it beautiful? Diary of Sister Kimberly Jones. 3 people welcome us back to the ALC. Alex, Sadaf, and Erin. Nobody else. Erin nearly collapses with relief, wrapping Salvador in her arms because he's the first person she can reach. Alex counts us twice, checks the blackboard in the lobby, and counts us again. Satisfied that everyone has come back, they leave. Sadaf leaves Aisha away, promising Faith she'll take care of her. Every other person in the ALC, if they have the misfortune to come through the lobby at that exact moment, ducks their head and leaves. We take turns changing out of our black uniforms in the laundry room, except Nick, who disappears upstairs. Some of us take longer than others. I'm in and out in a minute, jamming the clothes in a bin, while Erin helps Salvador get their arm out of the sleeve due to a nasty scrape. Erin says she'll let Sarif know, because someone should really look at it. Salvador insists he's fine. He's fine, it's nothing to worry about. Please don't take her away from Aisha. Then we pull just enough water to clean ourselves and draw straws for order. I get the shortest straw, and Faith tries to protest, but I hide it before she can take it. By the time the water gets to me, it's cold and murky. I dunk my hair and scrub an old washcloth across my arms, and I don't let myself take long because if I do, I'll try to scrub off my skin. For the rest of the day, I struggle to keep down food and catch fragments of sleep. People avoid me in the kitchen and the halls. I check the mirror to make sure Sarif hasn't etched itself deeper into my body, but there's nothing I hadn't seen before. I did good. I made them suffer. I did. Theo still loves me. But what the fuck happened? Why did I end up in New Nazareth? Why did I see the body hanging from the tree? Why did I see the monster? I want to crack my head open and search through the brain matter for the rot creeping across my frontal lobe. I want to ask Theo to do it for me. He'd break me open if I asked him to, wouldn't he? He understands I never asked for this. He won't hurt me this time. I'm scared of the beast in the trees. The barest glimpse Sarif has given me of fangs, feathers, and flesh. Because I think that beast, 6 wings, death on his pale horse, the monster of the sea and blasphemy, the wrath of the lamb, is me. I don't sleep more than a handful of hours. The next day I'm so tired that my eyes burn and I'm so hungry my stomach has given up on growling. Instead, I ache all over and take too long to respond. My hands tremble. Low blood sugar, Dad would always say. Or maybe it's Sarif. Does the FUD cause tremors? I can't remember. I tuck my hands between my knees as the watch sits in the media room in a terrible stretched out silence. We don't say anything. Just look at one another. It's Salvador that finally speaks. Sorry to be a bummer, as he says, slapping the arm of the love seat, but I can't do this. I'm going back to bed. Later. Sadaf untangles herself from Aisha and Faith to reach for Zem. Sal. Lets him go, Erin whispers. Salvador leaves the media room, wiping her face and letting the door slam behind them. Nick watches the ground. Cormac picks at his nails. I didn't sleep well, Faith says, her voice teetering on the edge of a whisper. I mean, none of us ever sleep well, but worse than usual. Me neither, Aisha says. I was up half the night. Sadaf squeezes her hand. Sorry, you don't need to hear this. Nightmares? Erin prompts gently. Aisha says, it's worse when I'm awake. Nick meets my eyes across the room. He knows I don't have anything to say here, that I'm used to this, that this is my normal and all I can do is watch everyone else crumble. Cormac says, I don't know why this is any different. This isn't the first time we've killed people. Nothing's changed. There were children, Aisha protests. They were children. They were just kids. And so was Trevor, Cormac says. Stop acting like this is so terrible. Can't take the broken look on Aisha's face. Cormac, I say. Shut the fuck up. Erin says, Nick, what about you? Do you want to talk? I'm fine, he says. You always say that, Faith whispers. And stop asking. My job is to take care of you, not the other way around. Erin either takes the bait or lets it slide, because she keeps going. Everyone deserves to know somebody's looking out for them. I know what you go through isn't always understood by everyone else at the ALC. She leans over to put a hand on the back of the couch. Sadaf, I'm glad you're here. His support means so much to us. I tune it out. The words aren't meant for me. Staring and blinking into the face of death, even as it tears you to shreds, is just what angels do. There's no point in fear when God is so much greater. The fear is to sin. Don't you trust him? Don't you believe in him? Have faith, you coward. Psalm 118:6. The Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me? Afterwards, Sadaf gathers Aisha and Faith to go make sure Salvador is okay. Aaron tries to talk to Nick, but he pulls away, staring at his hands, taking the lizard from his pocket, focusing on anything but her. Then he mumbles a flimsy excuse and flees. Hey, Benji? Aaron sighs once we're the only ones left. You holding up okay? Better than everyone else looks like, I say. Is Nick all right? He's... She searches for a word. The length she's going to in order to avoid saying autistic is admirable, but I can't help but wonder if Nick would be grateful or annoyed. He doesn't like to talk, I know, but I'm still worried about him. She picks at her hair for a second, swaying on her feet before something clicks. You think you could go talk to him? I borg. Me? If it's not too much of a problem, she says. Talking to you might be good for him. You have a lot in common, actually. We do? This smile. Something I can almost see past her mask creeping into her eyes. The crinkle of her cheeks above the flower-patterned cloth looks desperate. Yeah. And maybe he'll see it too. A lot in common. I can't think of anything about us that overlaps besides being white gay guys. And in the ARC, that's not special. What else is there? We're both kind of short. We're both way too comfortable with the dead. With the way Aaron is looking at me, all hope and sadness, I can't say no. Takes me a few minutes to track down Nick. One of the sniper girls points me in the right direction, the roof. Said he'd take over for a bit. I ain't complaining. I head upstairs, which is just storage and a few doors, one of which has a key that gets passed around if you want a place to hook up or jack off in peace, and open the roof access hatch. The roof is flat and full of gravel, peppered with useless HVAC units and other little metal and plastic things. Nick sits in a lawn chair looking out over the street, a rifle leaning against his knee and binoculars in his lap. It's hot up here, and the sky is perfectly blue. I let the hatch door drop. Did Aaron send you? Nick says, not bothering to turn around. That obvious? She worries too much. That's kind of her job. I come over and sit on the concrete wall running along the edge of the roof. Nick is tapping his fingers the way he was at Reformation. His leg is bouncing too. I promised I'd check on you, so if you want me to piss off, give me something good. Something good, he repeats. Yeah. So I can say, we had a good chat. He's doing okay. She deserves that much. I'm fine. I throw his words from the corner store back at him. Too vague. His nose wrinkles. Just give me something to work with. Already did. That isn't I'm fine because holy shit, dude, none of us are. Nick kicks his feet up on the wall. Or we can just hang out, I say. He snorts, almost as if he finds it funny, which would be a first. That's cool too. Theo and I used to do this kind of thing. New Nazareth rose from the ashes of a university in the northern quarter of Acheson, and we imagined the students would be jealous of the free reign we had of restricted areas and old basements. Our favourite place was the roof of the student union, where we would chase carrion birds, hide from our parents, and study the world beyond the gates. At first, we watched endless streams of cars and the flashing lights of the city, telling stories of the lives of non-believers far beyond us. Then, after Judgment Day, we stared at utter silence, at light slowly snuffing out, at the world grinding to a bloody, sin-soaked halt. I look over my shoulder at the city now, at the skyscrapers that are only just starting to bear the scars of abandonment, the green peeking through cracks in the sidewalk, ponds gathering in dips in the road. February is the end of spring. Soon the city will become sweltering and nigh uninhabitable. Revelation 8:7. And the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Come April, the world will be parched. The river surrounding the city will become a siren song, coaxing animals toward the rapids and smashing them against the rocks. Dashest thy little ones against the stones. Theo's back. He still loves me. If I could cry, I would. It's only been a handful of weeks since I last saw him, but it feels like we've been apart forever. I had to pull a knife to keep from falling into his arms, begging him to forgive the transgression that made him raise a hand against me. He did it to me. He hurt me. And I wanted to apologize. He came for me, and I'll go back to him. I have to. The two of us really have changed, haven't we? In so little time. I skim my hand through my hair and it flops in front of my eyes. He's turned his back on the angels. And I'm more a boy, more visibly a boy, I guess, than I ever was in New Nazareth. I blow the hair away, but it falls right back down. Wait, I still have Nick's bobby pins. I pull them from my pocket and try to slide them into place, get the shaggy hair out of my face, but they don't stay. They come loose and sag. Figures. I never learned how to do anything with my hair besides comb it and messily braid it. Mum practically had to hold me down to put flowers in my hair for the engagement blessing, like she was trying to wrestle girl back into my head. Nick says, "You have them backward." What? Here. He slings the binoculars around his neck. Give them to me. I hand over the bobby pins. Nick pulls the sleeves of his jackets over his palms, almost like he's trying to create sweater paws, and he sweeps my hair out of my face. My fingers curl against the concrete wall, and I stare at my feet, trying to keep myself as still as possible as his hands skim my scalp. This sort of touch between the unmarried was barely allowed in New Nazareth. Theo is back. I am betrothed, and Theo is back. Nick slides one bobby pin into place, sweeps back my hair again, and nestles the second one at my temple. He steps away and lets his sleeve go. His right hand shakes for a second, like he's trying to get something off it. Which side goes against the skin? He says, and drops back into his chair. I barely remember to reply. Right. Thanks. You did good at the church, Nick says. I don't feel like I did. Dad's meaning of the word, or Nick's, it doesn't matter. I know I technically did, but I still ache in my chest. Like I did something wrong instead. We lost nobody to abominations. You did your job. They didn't want to hurt us. His throat bobs. His gaze focuses on a squirrel balancing on a phone pole, tail twitching as it surveys the rusting traffic jam. He says, "How much longer do you have?" I don't know. A few weeks at most. The skin underneath my fingernails is a bit too pale, verging on grey. Nothing too wrong, but just wrong enough. I'm throwing up all the time and it's getting worse. I don't mention the vision or whatever it was at Reformation. You might think I'm losing it and shove me over the side of the building. But I'm all right for now. It's okay to be scared, he says. I say, I'm scared all the time. I'm tired of it. Then do something about it. Like what? What else is there to do but split open my skull, beg Theo to take out the rotten parts, peel Seraph out of me cell by cell? All I can do is run away. I ran from New Nazareth, I ran from the angels and Theo and Mum, and I'm running from this too, as if closing my eyes against it will stop it from devouring me whole. Maybe I have to run toward something for once. Toward Theo. Toward the beast in the trees. I say, this was supposed to be me getting you to talk. Nick says, good fucking luck. I laugh. Chapter 14. The hospitals are full. We have patients on the floor, in the halls. They're dying here. And the ones that don't die? Look, my advice? As soon as you start vomiting black or feel your organs moving inside you, the only thing I can recommend is euthanasia. Anonymous nurse at West Acheson Medical Center. 6 wings. Death on his pale horse. The monster of the sea and blasphemy. The wrath of the lamb. I chase Seraph. At first, I'm not sure how. I spend the rest of the day reciting Revelation from memory, and when I get to Revelation 22:20, even so, come, Lord Jesus, I rewind back to the top. The end times, measuring the kingdom of heaven, the woman in labor, the dragon, and the bride of the Lord. I whisper to nothing, trying to find some connection to the disease under my skin. I run my tongue over my teeth, chew on my nails, grind the bones in my hands together until they hurt. I take a wad of rags from under my pillow and cough up rot. Is it visions of the end, or the flood eating holes in my brain? Seraph is burning through me, readying my insides for the inevitable shattering of my human form into something blessed. It's reached my grey matter, burrowed between my synapses and gotten into the lobes, the neurons, all the little pieces of me, and maybe that's why, when I squeeze my eyes shut and pray, I'm given the gift of sight. Dead New Nazareth and the blood-pink river, the crows, the trees and the underbrush, the beast of fangs, feathers, and flesh across the stream, dappled in sunlight and shadow baring its teeth. The angel that gave the vision to John of Patmos, and the angel that gives this to me. A body twisted under God's will into something else, winged and sacred. Isaiah 6:2. And above him stood the seraphim. Among the trees is Seraph. I wade into the water and climb up onto the other bank, squeezing between trees. Seraph rears back and snarls, but I whisper, "You don't scare me." I can make out more of it now. Its blazing white eyes, the gleam of the sun on its teeth. But not much else before it clambers into the branches of old-grown trees, sending down a rain of twigs and brown leaves, a massive winding shadow disappearing farther into New Nazareth. I follow and come out from the trees into the back of the campus. The old university has been scrubbed clean of all things secular, transformed into a liminal space between the old world and our next life in the kingdom of heaven. For once it lies silent. The soldier preaching in the plaza is gone. The bell doesn't ring to call the faithful to worship. There are no women walking to the parking lots made fields, no children running through the grass. But there are still blessings painted across sprawling windows, concrete paths winding through the towering buildings, trees wavering in the breeze. This was home for 5 years. I know New Nazareth better than I know myself. The shadow of Seraph digs its claws into the side of a building and hauls itself up to the roof. I follow. I've never chased anything like this, not really. Theo chased me and I let him, both now and when we first fell in love. Dad chased freedom for both of us at Acheson County, and I just held on to his sleeve. I barely even chased the idea that I might be a boy. I didn't want to think about why I never felt at home in my skin, why my name never felt like mine, why I was so apathetic about everything the angels said a girl should be. I thought I was tired of an angel's womanhood, of loyalty and purity, of all the terrible things they tried to cram into our heads. But that was never enough. All the excuses were never enough, and dysphoria had to wrap its hands around my neck and hold me down, baptism in drowning, before I faced the fact that living as a girl would kill me long before the angels did. My boyhood threatened to destroy me unless I looked it in the eye. I'm not going to let Seraph do that to me too. I follow Seraph into the heart of campus, where towering buildings encircle the student union. I throw open the glass doors and step through the mess of chairs in the old food court, up the spiral steps to the 4th floor and through a hidden staircase to the roof. Up here, Seraph sits on the other side of the skylight, a towering shadow backlit by the sun. A massive creature of wings and sharp edges, diseased flesh and exposed muscle. How close do I have to get? What do I have to do to face it? Whisper across the roof? Hold its warped face in my hands, look into its eyes and bare my own teeth? I pause, watching. A long tail made of sinew and bone wraps around its haunched body. I squint against the sun, and I can't make out any of its features, except the hissing of breath and the flutter of so many wings. I say, "I'm here, you son of a bitch. What do you want?" Seraph lunges across the skylight and smashes us both through the glass. I wake up with a piece of glass in my mouth. I roll off the mattress and hit the cold wax floor, kicking my sheets and trying to spit out blood. Nothing comes out. Nothing? I stare at the ground, but it's night. It's dark and I can't see anything. There's glass stuck in my mouth. I run my tongue over my teeth, and it snags on my top left canine. It wasn't always this big. I scrape my upper lip raw. I didn't think I had another smaller normal tooth smashed backward to make room for it. And I didn't think it was as sharp as shattered glass. For the word of God, it is sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing the division of soul and spirit, of joints and marrow. I bolt from my room. I trip over the sheets spilling out from the little apartments and almost run into the gym doors trying to open them. I grab a box of tools from the supply closet. I'll need tools for this, and the only place to hide is in the bathroom at the back of the building. Nobody uses it since there's no water. It'll be safe there. I pour open the door and slam the lock into place behind me. The only light comes in from a small slit window just above the toilet, the moon trickling in lazily. Good. I sit on the floor and squeeze my eyes shut. It's Seraph. It's the flood pushing outward. A tooth, like my nails and gums and the red rims around my eyes, like the one Nick pried out of the grace. Let all the earth fear the Lord. I tear open the tool bag and dump out everything. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. There. Pliers. Breathe. Okay. Knee up, elbow propped against it. Put the pliers against the jagged grace tooth sticking out from my gums, destroying my lips and mouth. People pulled teeth all the time before anesthesia was invented. It can't be that hard, can it? I clamped the pliers around the tooth. Don't be a bitch. Get it over with. Bury the tooth in the courtyard and deal with it. Breathe. Just do it. I yank. The pliers scrape all the way down and punch me in the knee. I stare at the empty metal clamped in my hand, dazed. It didn't work. Of course, it's not going to be that easy. This is just the first of many. What am I going to do? Tear out all of my teeth as they grow in, one by one? I groan hysterically and press the back of my head against the wall. Maybe if I push out instead of pulling down, I can snap it off. There's a small, strange sound deep in my throat, almost like the wheezing grace noises I made while pinning Alex to the ground. On 3. 1, 2, fear the Lord and depart from evil. The sound is like bones breaking, like Trevor being crushed against the road. A bullet of pain shoots up my skull. Blood gushes from my mouth and cascades down my chin. My tooth skitters across the floor. Holy shit. Holy shit. I tear handfuls of ancient toilet paper from the dispenser and jam them into my mouth. Blood pools in my throat. It soaks through the paper as quickly as I put it into my mouth, and I grab another handful, trying not to choke in pain when it snags on exposed nerves. But something isn't right. My hands are numb. My mouth still feels too heavy, too full. In the dim light of the bathroom, I pull myself forward, groping across the floor. The tooth clatters away and comes to rest in the ground between 2 cracked tiles. Oh. Fear the wrath of the Lamb. Fear the wrath of the Lamb. The tooth on the floor is small and round, and not sharp at all. In what world has my God ever been a benevolent one? I tilt my head forward so I don't choke on the blood the way I choked on Mum's words, on the bruises Theo left on my wrists. The grace tooth is still in my mouth, taunting. Fear the wrath of the Lamb. Seraph is here, and it's inside me, and, just like my dysphoria holding my head underwater, demanding to be acknowledged before it drowned me. It's only getting worse. There's nothing I can do. Chapter 15. Wives, remember, the way to a lasting marriage is faith and loyalty. You must have faith in your husband the way you have faith in God. When your husband turns from you, it is your duty to pray, Lord, how can I change? Sister Kimberly Jones, A Biblical Love. This is what I steal for Theo. 2 bottles of water, a near-empty jar of peanut butter, a can of tuna, a sleeve of stale crackers, and other little things that nobody will notice. A pair of socks with a hole in the heel, a face mask hanging up to dry, all in a backpack with a broken strap. I'm sickened with guilt just looking at the backpack. I've barely eaten anything since I got here, taking just enough to keep myself on my feet. This is just what I would have taken if I'd actually eaten. Half that, a quarter, I guess. Plus we're meeting the Vanguard in Wagner Commons tomorrow. Alex gave the news this morning. With 14 ears, we'll be getting enough food. Nobody will notice everything I'm shoving into the backpack. It's fine. I do some quick math. Nick only takes 3 people with him to the Vanguard. Something about their sensitive egos wanting to keep the numbers in their favor. Whatever. Which means I have a 33% chance of not getting picked to go. Those numbers don't look good. I can't hide the grace tooth from him. Not from someone who knows what to look for. Not from someone I want to tell. Not from someone I need to tell. I checked the mirror as soon as the sun rose, and it confirmed my suspicions. I took out my actual canine with the pliers. My tooth, not the grace fang. I don't know how I did it wrong, how Seraph made me do it wrong. At least I can hide it for now. I tried talking to myself and the words don't come out too badly. But there's more coming and it hurts, and I'm doing the right thing. I'm being good. I'm just not telling anybody. When darkness falls, the night before the watch is called to the vanguard, I sneak out the back. This time I make sure Nick isn't following me. Brother Hutch and Reverend Brother Morrison weren't the only ones who spoke at Theo's and my engagement ceremony. Mum did too. She read a passage from Kimberly Jones's book on marriage, A Biblical Love. I remember because I saw her flipping through the book for hours beforehand with a pen, trying to find a passage that would hammer home my place as a wife. Like that could somehow beat the boy out of me. Kimberly Jones was a writer in the early angelic movement. Still alive, I think, in a settlement in California. He got really popular for a few years before Judgment Day. She was especially beloved by white women 30 and older and was one of the best propaganda machines a fascist evangelical terrorist cult could ask for. It's amazing how locking down one key demographic, white people in rich countries, means you can get your claws into the world so tightly. You can tear it all to pieces around you. This is what's best for you, Mum told me. It was that or be shamed for giving up my body before marriage. As if I hadn't been forced to give up my body for something far, far worse. I could at least pick Theo. I could pick the when and how. I'd never gotten that anywhere else. By the time I reach Reformation Faith Evangelical Church, it's late. The moon is high in the sky, cradled by the Milky Way and all the thousands of stars. Maybe Mum is looking at the same sky right now, thinking it will all be okay when she brings me home. Me with a knife to Theo's throat. I'm not going back with you. I step through the back door to find nothing. No ambushes by death squads, no angels lying in wait. I hate that I was thinking it, but I'm always thinking it. Anyway, Reformation reeks. It smells like bodies and flood. The nest howls my arrival, rattling all the dead of Judgment Day. I'm sorry, I whisper. I didn't mean to disturb you. It quiets, slowly, murmuring and rasping through the rafters. I take the bobby pins out of my hair like a housewife taking off a wedding ring before meeting up with her boyfriend. Theo? I step into the dark hallways, into the belly of the church. You still here? In the back. He's in one of the Sunday school classrooms, sitting on the teacher's desk and reading an illustrated kid's Bible. We didn't have those at New Nazareth. Kids don't need to be able to understand the scripture. Nobody's asking them to understand, just obey. He's pilfered clothes from the donation pile, and it's the first time I've seen him as something that isn't angel whites. Bulky shorts that cut off at an unflattering place near the knees, which, same. A plain t-shirt that's a little too big on him, and his hair has grown out since he was torn from the death squads, finally long enough that a pale little curl falls over his forehead. My stomach turns. I want to kiss him. I want to be sick. I want to hold his jaw in my hands and feel his body heat against my skin. I want to pretend he never hurt me, that everything is fine, that this is something we can move forward from. I'm scared. I don't want him to put a single hand on me. I don't want him to exhale in my direction. I want to wrap my arms around him and stay there forever. I want things to be how they used to be. It would be so much easier that way. Why does this have to be so hard? Oh, Theo says, because he's looking at me. Really looking at me. He has the time to take it all in. He slides off the desk. And I think he's about to rush to me and wrap me in a hug, the way people used to do in old movies. But he stops halfway, teetering, not exactly sure what to do with me. He's got that confused look in his eyes, fumbling between wanting to touch me and wanting to back away. One mistake, and we're back to the beginning of a relationship. Kids who are thrown together and just don't know what to do with themselves. I hold out the backpack. I want this thing away from me. I brought some stuff. I stole some stuff. Thought you might be hungry. He takes it like a starved dog takes meat from an outstretched hand. Thanks. You look like hell. I finish for him. No, just different. He gestures at the back of his neck. You cut your hair? Instinctively, I touched where my braid used to be. My head felt so light when Dad cut it all away, as if he'd taken off some terrible thing that had been dragging me down for years. which was true in a way. Theo says, "You actually look like a boy." My first instinct is to snap. I was a boy before I cut my hair and stopped wearing dresses, and I'd still be a boy if I hadn't. But I don't. I can't be mad at him for saying the same thing I thought when I looked in the bathroom mirror. He's just being nice. I look awful, I say. I force a smile even though he can't see it. Not really. I guess that's the same thing as looking like a boy, right? I've worn cargo shorts 3 days in a row. If that's not awful, I don't know what it is. Theo snorts. How did I manage to land a straight guy? How dare you imply I'm heterosexual? I'm disgusted and appalled. And we're quiet again. Because we got close to the way things used to be and neither of us know what to do with that. Theo clears his throat. Did you come here alone? Of course I did. His throat bobs. I get the urge to pick out from under my nails blood that isn't there anymore. Benji, Theo says. I'm so sorry. I've been doing pretty good at not thinking about Dad. What would thinking about him do anyway? It won't change anything. It's fine. You sure? I wave my hand at him. I brought you stuff. Make sure it's okay. Right. He sets the broken backpack on the teacher's desk and opens it up. Sorry. I can't watch him take out the food, the socks, the water. Still, as he replaces his old ragged mask, I get a glimpse of his awkward half stubble. My dysphoria burns. I'll never get to have that. I've come to terms with it, sure. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. He stands there, hand over the mask as if feeling it. You came back. What, you thought I wasn't going to? I sit underneath a corkboard filled with colouring pages of the Ark and the Apostles. I'm not that much of an asshole. I just wouldn't have been surprised if you didn't. I would have been hurt, but I'd have understood. I haven't exactly been... He doesn't have to finish the sentence. No, he hasn't. He folds up his gangly limbs and sits beside me. He never did fill out as much as he thought he would. Not the way his father did. Instead, he's wiry like a wound-up spring. Maybe one of those garage door springs that can take off your face if you mess with him. He's so close. His thigh presses up against mine. I have to stop myself from leaning against him the way I always have. I lost it, he says, and I ruined the best thing that ever happened to me. God, I hate apologies. He knows that. Why can't we just admit it's all fucked up and move forward without talking about it? I hurt you because I wasn't mature enough to deal with you making a decision. What is he, a therapist? You shouldn't have had to be mature. We're kids. Don't change the subject, he says. I wince because he's right. I'm serious. I messed up. I'm glad you're back and I'm sorry. There it is. The I'm sorry. I never know what to say back. If he knows what he did wrong, he doesn't have to say so. He just has to stop doing it and tell me he learned that way. But I should be demanding that he apologize over and over until it's the only thing he can say. I can't help myself. I want him to know. Thought you were going to break my wrist, I say. Or my arm or something. He looks away. I say, I was scared of you. I know, I'm sorry. Please stop apologizing. I want to hear him say it over and over. I want to sew his lips shut. Please. If it makes it even, which is a terrible way to start a sentence, I'm scared of you now. That's not difficult. A lot of people are scared of me. Well, he stares up at the ceiling. When I follow his gaze, I find little paper angels hanging from the tiles with string. They're angels the way I haven't seen them since I was so much younger. Chubby cheeks, halos, holding crayon pink hearts. Still, though they're having white robes and feathered wings put me on edge. I guess scared isn't the right word. Fear is probably better. Fear God and keep his commandments. I blink in surprise to hear ecclesiasts coming from Theo of all people. He was always bad at recitation. For this is the whole duty of man. Theo's eyes fall to me. His smile shines in the crinkled skin at his cheeks, and the light in his gaze. The duty I accepted when I agreed to marry you, he says, is to fear you and keep you. I should have remembered that. I won't forget again. So if the angels hurt you, then I fulfill my promise here. Our faces are so close. His body is so warm, and I missed him so much. I missed him. I missed him. No matter what he did. I'm disgusted with myself. I believe him. I'm not contagious, I say and take down my mask. I pull down his too and I kiss him. Kissing him is water after a drought, deer meat in my belly after days of refusing to eat. He freezes under my lips just for a second, the way he had before, then he gives in, his hands greedily reaching for me and tangling in my hair. I wonder if I still feel the same to him without the braid there, the braid he learned to tie back up so no one knew we had been together. He stops. He pulls back. His gaze zeroes in on my parted lips. Without asking, I open my mouth all the way so he can see the fang, the pale, receding gums, the cruel curl to my lip that comes so easily these days. You're turning, he whispers. Of course he's disgusted by this. Why wouldn't he be? I'm coughing up rot. My skin is turning ashen. My nails are one forgotten trim from turning into claws. I've told him about the martyrs. He knows what Seraph will do. Instead of telling me how gross I am, he says, I kept the ring. As quickly as I was against him, I'm pulling away. Night air rushes in between us, freezing the parts of my arms and chest that were warm so close to him. His face falls. Theo, I warn. I don't think now is a good time. No, I get it. He swallows hard. I shouldn't have brought it up. I don't want to talk about it. It's too soon. I dig my nail into where the ring used to be. I took it off before Dad and I left. I put it in a little box and left it by the dorm. Which means I wore the ring in the hours between him throwing me against the wall and Dad finally telling me it was time to go. Can't believe that was the same day. I can't believe it's only been a few weeks. It feels like months. It feels like forever. Please, I don't want to talk about it. No, I understand. He catches my face and makes me look at him. Hey, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. That's exactly what he said when I broke down crying when we were so much younger, when he had just fallen so hard for each other, when I was terrified of being a boy. He wouldn't pull that phrase out if he didn't mean it. He says, I just want to be with you again. I hate myself for how much I've wanted to hear those words. I tell him that if we want to make this work, then we need to grow over some stuff. It's the only thing that keeps me from feeling like a girl in a classic movie, falling for the man who kidnaps her or holds her down. I look him in the eye and say there can't be any apologies, because I don't want to hear them, but we need to talk about the things the angels would never let us. The nest whines as we step into the atrium. Pieces of the front door lie scattered at the mouth of the sanctuary, spread out across the carpet and front porch. The smell of rot isn't as bad as it had been. The bodies have all been moved. I look to Theo with a frown. The Grace wanted them, Theo says in explanation. In the pale moonlight coming through the stained glass windows, I try to find body parts that weren't part of the Grace before, but nothing sticks out as particularly old or new. It's just all the same flesh. Didn't know you got along with Graces now, I say. I don't, he says. Even with the front door broken, I don't feel particularly exposed to her. Living things know not to come too close, and things that aren't 100% alive are what I'm best with. So we find a seat in the pews and sit, because we're too used to the smell of rot and messed up like that. Grace meat has grown into the carpet under our feet. I whisper, to me, and hold out my hand. A tendril of flesh peels itself up from the ground and finds its way to my fingers, weaving through them like a child holding tight to a parent's hand. Theo's soap bobs. I hold out my palm. You want to try? I ask. It's not going to hurt you. I'm fine, he says. Really. It's not going to make you sick this time. Still. There's a strange closeness, this flesh curling between my fingers. Something primal, almost paternal. We came here to talk, so we're going to talk. I say, you never told me why you left the death squads. Left is the safest word. No connotations. I pick it because I know better. I saw what happened when people asked at all, let alone use words like kicked out, failed, exiled. I was the one pulling him away when he got upset. Even now, I still expect darkness to wash over Thea's expression. It never comes. No, I didn't tell you. This is me asking. Tell me how you left, and I'll tell you why I left. Fine. I let the grace crawl further up my hand, to my arm, where it gets caught in the hair and rears back in confusion like a startled inchworm. We'd been planning it ever since we realized Mum was serious about putting me into the Seraph program. We wanted to get out before Sister Kipling actually injected me, but my back twinges with the memory of the needle slipping into my spine. That didn't work out. Theo makes a sad sound. He knows damn well it didn't work. We eventually smuggled ourselves onto a caravan, headed to the DC compound. I ended up having to ditch halfway into the city when they caught us. I didn't mention how I whispered to the Grace escorting us and slaughtered every angel who laid eyes on me that day. That the Watch and I were other reasons New Nazareth has lost so many people in just the past few days. We got stuck in the city after that, I say. Another tendril of meat comes up to wind between my fingers. We were about to make it across the bridge when a death squad found us. So, they killed him, he says. They did. And that group you were with a few days ago? Saved me. His jaw works under his mask. I know what he's going to say. No. You know it won't work. He looks away. They don't know who I am. If they did, they'd kill me. But Nick knows who I am. Erin knows, and for some reason, I don't say that. They kill angels. It's what they do. You can't come back with me. If they see your scars, you're dead, and I say this instead. I can't lose you again. He takes my hand, the one not twisted with the grace meat. Thank you, he says. To fear and to keep. Mark 10:9. What therefore God has joined together, let no one separate. Not even ourselves. Not going to lie, I'm impressed you got so far. How'd you get past the gate? I snort. Carefully and with our heads down. We give that time to settle. For everything in our chests and stomachs to calm. This time, Theo starts. Did word ever make it back about Squad Cavalry? It takes me a while. I don't know the squads by name, but it does sound familiar, and when it clicks, my stomach sinks. That was your squad, wasn't it? Yeah, was. To my surprise, he reaches out for the meat curled around my hand. Behind the altar, hundreds of eyes watch carefully as it grasps for him. One of the members went rogue, killed everyone but me and asked if I wanted to leave with him. A breath. And the thing is, I thought about it. I swallow hard. You didn't. They did. I thought he'd kill me if I refused, you know? Figured he'd put a bullet in my head if I said no. Just like he did the others. I touched my cheekbone, right where Dad's face caved in on itself. But he didn't. Just walked off. And then I came back alone. They called me a failure and tore my wings off my back. There's nothing to say. Not really. I could have stopped him was the thing. He'd gotten injured in a firefight and I could have stopped him if I just... He scrapes his hair away from his face. It's sticking to his forehead. Even at night, it's just a bit too warm. He's probably dead. The wounds probably got infected and the son of a bitch died. Yeah, I say. Probably. That's why I was so mad when you said you didn't want Seraph, Theo whispers. You were just handed the thing they took from me. I finish for him so he doesn't have to say it. And I rejected it. Yeah, he says. Yeah. I practically spat in his face. I dug my nails into the wounds in his back. I guess I can't blame him for being angry. We all get angry these days. I'm glad you're here, I say. He puts an arm around my shoulder and pulls me close, my face nestling into the crook of his neck like it always has. He smells exactly the same. He says, me too. When I get sick a few seconds later, Theo rubs my back as I spit rot onto the floor. He kisses my temple and brushes hair from my face because the bobby pins aren't there to keep it back. My stomach cramps, and it doesn't feel like it's in the same place it's always been. If you cut me open, my torso would be a mass of sludge and flesh. Sister Kipling described it as the way a caterpillar dissolves before reforming into a butterfly. I gag and cough, and Theo holds me close. To keep and to fear.